Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. While in Thunder Bay in January, the Premier promised to meet with local workers to talk about the many issues that injured workers routinely face, but she hasn't. Despite 2 attempts by the workers to set up a meeting, nothing has happened. I can guess why. Maybe it's because the Liberals have once again promised big business a premium rate cut of 3%. That's after delivering a 6.2% rate cut last year. Or maybe it's because her former Chief of Staff received $440,000 last year for being the head of a nonprofit agency. The premium savings to the wealthiest continues to be borne by injured workers who routinely have their claims denied. So I ask the Premier, is this yet another Liberal promise made and broken?
Minister of Labour.
Minister of Labour.
Speaker, thank you to the member for that question. Certainly the workers and families in this province need to know that should they suffer an injury on the job or even worse, that they will be looked after by a workers' compensation system that allows them to collect, allows them to move on with their life, hopefully allows them to return to work, Speaker. I have met with numbers of injured workers groups and injured workers themselves around the province of Ontario over the past 3 or 4 years, Speaker. Some of the advice we've received, some of the advice we've received on changes we should be making to the Workers' Compensation Board is advice that I have heeded, Speaker. Certainly the Premier has supported that as well, and we have made those changes. I think if you look, Speaker, back at the last 3 or 4 years, the changes that have been made to the Workers' Compensation Board in order to protect the interest of workers, Speaker, are something this province should be proud of. Do we have further to go? We absolutely do, Speaker.
Answer.
I'm in the process of looking at a number of initiatives.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Well, Speaker, the government certainly hasn't dealt with the deeming issue. Maybe the Premier hasn't bothered to follow up with injured workers that she met at her election-style event in Thunder Bay because her own Liberal government continues to leave thousands of injured workers to fend for themselves after they are being misclassed through deeming as working in jobs that they never held for a wage that they never got. Speaker, New Democrats put forward amendments to Bill 148 that would have prevented injured workers from being wrongfully assessed at the newer, higher minimum wage rates, but Liberals and Conservatives refuse to support those amendments. Why is the Premier refusing to meet with injured workers in Thunder Bay as she promised?
Minister.
Speaker, as I noted in the previous answer, I have travelled to Thunder Bay myself. I have met with the injured workers groups right in the office of the member for Thunder Bay, Speaker. He's facilitated those meetings. The injured workers themselves have come down to Toronto and have met in my office as well. On a 6-month basis, Speaker, we have injured workers come into the WSIB. I attend their meetings as well, Speaker. Three of the biggest asks that we've had from injured workers was full indexation, Speaker, for those that are full indexation for those that had a partial disability, Speaker. We increased survivor benefits, took steps to further disincent employers from hiding claims, which was happening in the past, Speaker. But we also listened to first responders. We passed legislation that allowed for presumptive WSIB coverage. The changes that have taken place, Speaker, over the past 3 or 4 years have been based primarily on the advice that we've received from workers, and that's how it should be, Speaker.